A father who fled to France after murdering his girlfriend speaks out in court today.
And the arguments made today over the recall's election date. The news starts now.
Live from Northern California's news leader, you're watching KCRA TV, where the news comes first and home of live Copter 3. This is KCRA 3 Reports at 5.
An historic showdown at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. 11 judges, 4 attorneys, a hotly contested issue delaying the election.
What's the evidence in this case? The evidence in this case is undisputed, absolutely undisputed.
I say you don't stop an election. You don't prevent everybody from voting because some of the people who do vote may have their votes counted erroneously.
More than an hour of passionate argument and pleas playing out before TV cameras and a national audience today as the appellate court judges deliberate this case. A Sacramento judge ruling today that millions of dollars contributed to Cruz Bustamante's campaign were illegal. Our Commitment 2003 team is live tonight to sort through today's major events. Kevin Riggs is live outside the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. And Brian Hickey is live in Sacramento with more on that Bustamante decision. Kevin, a big day.
Well, Dave, the 11 judges aggressively questioned the need to put off the October 7th recall vote, zeroing in on what appeared to be doubts about whether or not those punch card machines are truly unreliable, as the ACLU argues. That issue, of course, stemming from the infamous court fight over hanging chads in Florida that settled the 2000 presidential vote. The stakes couldn't be higher, the setting before 11 federal judges more solemn. And then...
That is, Your Honor, the strongest case that has ever been in this circuit with the...
Perhaps you should have quit while you're ahead.
It was an unwitting bit of truth uttered as California's Secretary of State and Attorney General expressed a desire for a quick answer on when the recall will be held.
Hope so.
We felt, or we believe, that the judges were persuaded of the importance of this election being held as it is constitutionally mandated on October 7th.
But lawyers for the ACLU say that would be the wrong decision.
Voting with these famous dimples and chads and punch cards, which are so notoriously error-prone, is unacceptable, is deficient.
Inside the courtroom, several judges were openly skeptical of the need to postpone the vote based on questions about punch cards.
Secretary of State made no finding. You want to rely, he said, don't look at the error rate. It doesn't matter because the state has made a finding, and there simply is no finding of an unacceptable error rate.
You're not counting sheep.
30 minutes.
We're not. It's because we're not counting sheep. We're counting votes, and it matters that people do or don't have confidence.
Today's hearing lasted just over an hour. A ruling is expected quickly.
I wouldn't be surprised if we heard from them, maybe not a full-fledged decision, but an order at least sometime tomorrow morning.
As for that lawyer's slip of the tongue about a circus,
That I should be thinking about another profession.
yeah, he'll be remembering that quote for some time to come. Lawyers for the ACLU said today they had not decided whether or not they would appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court if, in fact, they lose here before the Ninth Circuit. But again, we are expecting a decision fairly soon. In fact, the lawyers involved say they wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of ruling from the 11-judge panel by sometime tomorrow morning. Dave and Lois?
Yeah, I think they have put a 48-hour time frame on that. Thank you. Kevin Riggs live tonight in San Francisco.
And while we await the Ninth Circuit's decision, a Sacramento judge did rule today on a different recall case. The ruling, millions of dollars in campaign contributions can no longer be used by Lieutenant Governor Cruz Bustamante. KCRA 3's Brian Hickey continues our Commitment 2003 coverage live from the Sacramento courthouse. Brian?
Well, Lois, even after that ruling today, Cruz Bustamante argues that his campaign legally collected millions of dollars in campaign contributions that were collected in a committee that was set up before the campaign finance limits went into effect, effectively saying that they weren't bound by the $21,000 campaign contribution limits. Today, a judge ruled on the side of the Republicans and ordered immediately for Bustamante to stop spending that money.
Ever since Lieutenant Governor Cruz Bustamante started collecting millions of dollars in campaign funds from tribal gaming interests, Republican candidates started crying foul.
People of California said they don't want contributions in excess of $21,200. Well, the Lieutenant Governor had accepted contributions of up to $1.5 million.
Proposition 34 limits a candidate's contributions to $21,200 per donor. But Bustamante's campaign argued millions of dollars were legally raised in a fund set up before Prop 34 took effect this January. Today, the lieutenant governor still maintains he did nothing wrong.
We follow the FPPC exactly. That's the agency that interprets the law for everyone. We followed their rules. We followed their discussion. We followed their direction.
Today, Sacramento County Superior Court Judge Lauren McMaster ruled against the Fair Political Practice Commission's interpretation of Prop 34, which allowed Bustamante to accept the funds.
The judge has agreed with us and said, no, you can't do that. You have to return the money.
From collecting information they need to fight heart disease and diabetes.
Money that has been used in a Cruz Bustamante committee against Proposition 54 campaign, funding these television commercials. Republicans say the ads against Prop 54 crossed the boundary from initiative to political campaigning.
That was just campaigning for governor in a slightly different way. The look and feel of the ads urging voters to support him for governor are identical to those.
Bustamante told reporters in San Francisco today he will continue to run the ads, but this time the money will go directly to the Prop 54 committee and not the Bustamante for Governor campaign.
The judge basically said that we did everything right.
State Senator Ross Johnson, who filed the lawsuit blocking Bustamante's funding, says the Prop 54 ads were just another way for the lieutenant governor to skirt the rules.
One has to go back to the fundamental question. Why did Mr. Bustamante solicit the contributions? Why were the contributions made? And what was the intent in spending those contributions? All designed to help elect him governor of California.
And it appears whatever's left of those millions of dollars in contributions will go back to the groups who donated that money. But under the court's ruling today, those same groups could go right back and contribute that money to the Prop 54 campaign and get those commercials to keep remaining on the air. Live on 8th Street, I'm Brian Hickey. Dave Lois, back to you.
Sounds like a lot of legalese. All right. Thanks, Brian.
And if the election, of course, is held on October the 7th, you're nearly out of time now to register to vote. 5 p.m. was the deadline to register at your county election office. Now the only way to register is to download a registration form and get it postmarked with today's date. Throughout the day, the election officials have been busy handling those who waited until the last minute to get their voice heard.
The thing is that if I don't vote, I cannot sit back and gripe about the legislature. I cannot sit back and gripe about our governor or anybody else that's in a public office. If I don't get out and vote, I have no right to say anything.
And of course, if you did wait until the last minute, reminder, you can download that registration on our website, the KCRAchannel.com. You have until 9 p.m. to get it to the West Sacramento Post Office and 8:30 at the postal pickup at Arch Airport Road, that's in Stockton. Here now, look at what's still ahead of the road to the recall election. The Wednesday is the time for the top 5 candidates campaigning to replace Governor Gray Davis. They'll participate in a debate at Sacramento State University. Then September the 30th is the last day you can apply for an absentee ballot. And of course, if Election Day is scheduled October the 7th, but that could be moved to March depending on a federal appeals court ruling. Now, for more on the recall, including an application to register to vote and tonight's deadline, log on to our website at the KCRAchannel.com. Lois?
He murdered his girlfriend, then abandoned his 18-month-old son before fleeing to France. Today, James Nivette spoke out for the first time and received his punishment. KCRA 3's Mike DeSalle was in court and joins us live with what happened. Mike?
Lois, powerful moments inside a Sacramento courtroom today as James Nivette, an admitted murderer, breaks down in tears before a judge. They are tears that were met with scorn from the victim's family and prosecutors. They are tears that even now still don't explain why this killer did what he did.
From the bottom of my heart, may God forgive me for what I did.
At 4:07 this afternoon, James Nivette spoke publicly for the first time in 6 years. For the first time since shooting his 25-year-old girlfriend, Gina Barnett, 13 times in the back. For the first time since abandoning his 18-month-old son to flee to France. Today, in court, he gave no explanation why he murdered his girlfriend, or why he abandoned his son, or why he fled to France. Instead, he offered only now that he is facing a sentence of 18 years to life in prison, that he was sorry.
If there was any way that I could turn back the clock, I would, but I can't. I can only offer my apologies to all the people who are concerned.
In court, Navette also read a letter that he wrote to his 7-year-old son in hopes that his son will hear it. But again, in that letter, he again offered no reason for why he went through with this killing. To that, prosecutors lashed back with words from Navette's own 7-year-old son written in a letter to the court. I will have much more on that, including James Navette's 18 years to life prison sentence coming up at 6 o'clock. Live at the Sacramento County Courthouse, I'm Mike Tassell. Now back to you.
Okay, Mike, thanks.